Well, taking a look at how the markets are reacting to President Biden, we had pushed positive just before the president spoke. We now have two of the indexes that are up, both the S&P and the Dow Jones. NASDAQ still can't get out of the trouble that it's been in for a number of days now. Earlier, we had Mr. Powell from the Federal Reserve taking the steam out of stocks, saying that the Fed will be pulling back assistance as recovery continues. This means the Fed won't be buying up as many bonds as they have been in the past. Joining me now are Walser Wealth Management President Rebecca Walser and Rob Luna, CEO of SureVest, a CI financial company. Good to see you both. Rebecca, it's one thing and I'm switching for Biden for a second, just want to focus on what the Fed is doing. It's one thing to be elusive as a Fed chair. Alan Greenspan used to pride himself on how elusive he could be, but it's another thing about when you're actually contradicting yourself on things like bond buybacks, and that's what seems to be happening now from the Fed.
Yes, David. And I don't think that this Biden press conference really brought any clarity to that necessarily. So, the market, I thought the market might have some reaction just for the fact that, he did stay up there for an hour and we got a first press conference. But, it's so jumbled. I don't even know what to tell you. The market didn't have one way reaction or the other. And I was glad we could stand there for an hour and answer some questions, although I don't like his answers.
Yeah. Well, Rob, the bottom line is I don't think he said anything that hasn't been said before. There was no revelation of anything. He did talk about the filibuster a little bit, suggesting that he would be for changes in the filibuster, but wasn't very specific. So the specificity, I think, frankly, if he'd asked Peter Doocy to ask him some questions, he may have had some more specific questions.
That's right.
But a lot
You're
of it,
exactly right.
A lot of it had to do with how tightly held those questioners were by the White House itself, right, Rob?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, David, I think you're right to the point where he didn't say anything that we didn't expect, but he did reiterate a couple of issues that the market's been concerned about. One thing that I'm concerned about that he said was, he's talking about creating more favorable tax incentive for people who work. At the same breath, he said he's talking about penalizing people who've created wealth. Now, to me, that's a presumption that people who have wealth didn't work, and I think that's nonsense. As someone who's the first in this family to go to college, first to start a business, first to own a home, I created the wealth through hard work. So I think that's nonsense. The secondary thing I could tell you, as someone who's looking to move our corporate headquarters from Canada, open up something in the U.S., he thought, well, corporations, the first question they ask is, where's the closest freeway? Second thing is, how's the railroad tracks? That's nonsense. What we first ask is, what's the tax incentive? Secondarily, what are the labor laws in your state? That's how people make decisions. And this is just a big amalgam of the disconnect this administration has with the working people.
Yeah, well, he did say, he did kind of have this war on wealth attitude, which bothered a lot of people who've made wealth by the sweat of their brow. But also he said we reward work, not wealth. Well, in fact, what's happening right now through that $1.9 trillion bill is they're rewarding a lot of people, Rebecca, not to work. I mean, there have been anecdotal reports of cab drivers and Uber drivers not being available because they're making more money staying at home. I was just talking to Bill Hemmer in the hallway. He said that a lot of restaurants that are beginning to reopen having trouble finding people to work there, either as cooks or waiters, because they make more money by staying at home now. So, in fact, there is reward for not working in many cases, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, Dave, they rehauled the welfare program by making it a refundable child tax credit, $300 a month under a certain age, 6 and under, and $250 a month if you're, 6 to basically a teenager. So they basically revamped the welfare program through this bill, saying that it's temporary, but we all know that they really want to make this a re-entry to a welfare state again that we got rid of with Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich in the 90s. I have a real problem, too, with this border crossing situation, because if you look at the number, Dave, of the actual human trafficking, billions of dollars, and specifically in February. So we had President Trump leaving on the 20th. Biden comes in February. Look at the numbers, the published numbers of the money that transferred to coyotes for human trafficking in the month of February, the first full month we've had with this guy in the White House. America is not stupid. You cannot get up there and tell us that you're fixing the problem that we now have that we didn't have in January. So I'm sorry. I just can't. You have to call it a spade a spade.
I can tell it got under. I think it got under a lot of people's skin. And Rob, I owe you one, I'm afraid, again, because of the press conference. We're a little short on time. Rob and Rebecca, good to see you. I appreciate your enthusiasm, both of you.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, another